Thanks for showing up today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure all the time. Let's jump right into it.
You got it.
You played 2 games this week. Actually, let's look back at last week first. You had a Delphi.
Right.
First of 2 games last week. That was on Tuesday, a home game. You gave up 3 goals in that match. A tough second half. Can you explain a little bit what you saw from a coach's perspective in that game?
Yeah, absolutely. Delphi is probably the most complete program that we've played to this point. So they're a good team. But looking back at it, after we had a chance to reflect and watch the video and go through the whole review process, we really feel like we played a very good first half. Now, I think there's a maturation process that's happening right now within our group, and we're making progress in that regard. But the reality is that I do think that we played pretty well, stuck to the game plan in the first half, and we had some lapses in the second half where we were not quite as organized as we were in the first half. And at Delphi had good enough players where they're able to capitalize when we gave them those opportunities.
Yeah, Delphi, one of the stronger teams in the conference for sure.
Yeah, yep.
That game was on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had another home game on Friday. Really a heartbreaker of a loss in overtime,
Yeah.
1-0 loss against AIC. You had some early chances to convert in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Caroline Stautel had a chance at a header, great save by
Yep.
their keeper in that one. And then in the second half, Deanna Ryan and Betty Worth also had some opportunities.
Yeah.
What did you see from that game from your perspective?
Yeah, I think overall it was a relatively even game. I do think that we had some chances. Their goalkeeper made 2 or 3 big saves. Caroline did have a good opportunity. We feel like Vic Bernani got herself a couple opportunities. And that going into that game, the focus really was on us. We knew that we had played well against the Delphi in the first half for sure, and so we wanted to. Zach, we wanted to carry that over now and not just have a quality first half, but now can we have a quality entire match, a second half included. And I feel like we did. The girls made some adjustments at halftime, and they came out and I felt like we played pretty well in the second half. And so they made that progress, and now we got into overtime, and you could kind of see that I mentioned the maturity process. So we extended it, the quality play from the first half now into the second half. But then we got into the overtime, I felt like we may have got a little distracted, took our foot off the pedal a little bit, and Delphi scored a good goal on a restart. But I think I'm not Delphi, excuse me. AIC. And they're a good team and they have good players for sure. But really we were looking at us, and I feel like we did make some progress. I feel like Meg Howard played very well that game. I feel like our forwards are playing well. Certainly Christine Allard and Marissa Pearson are playing well together. And there's other players for sure that are stepping up. But I'd like to see us now put the entire match together. It's not, Zach, it's not just the quality of play, but I really feel like it's more of that our group understanding when key critical moments are in games and being able to maintain that level of focus for really a longer period of time.
Yeah, you really felt like that game was there for the taking, that AIC game, and with the opportunities there, I think you said just need to finish. Yeah, you're right. We had some chances and felt good. I felt that we were gonna win the game. During that game. So it was, you mentioned heartbreaking, disappointing, but at the same time, I feel like we are getting better. Let's talk about the offensive struggles a little bit. Only 1 goal in the last 3 games, and you kind of touched on some of the things your team is going through as far as maturity. But is it just offensive execution as far as the lack of goal scoring, or really good defense from the opponents, or you guys just snake bit? I mean, what's really going on here?
Yeah. I mean, you always have to give credit to the opponents, and if they defend well, they defend well, and that's been the case at points. But I would say that I think it's probably a combination of us connecting on the final pass, or finishing those chances when they're presented to us. So I feel like we're getting a little bit better each game, and we're focusing on training on the details that go into finishing. So it's really connecting on that final pass, and really having the composure to finish our chances when we get them. Because I think going back to the AIC game, I believe we outshot them. But they scored 1 and we didn't. So when we get those chances, we've got to execute.
Well, then, looking forward, you have an opportunity to execute when you head up to Lemoyne on Wednesday. 2 questions regarding that game. First, just your general expectations of the Dolphins as you head into that game, and then also, it being such a long trip up to Syracuse, is there any team building or anything that goes on long trips like that?
Yeah, first of all, Lemoyne, watching the video, they're tough. They fight, and I think they've had a couple results go against them. But watching the video, geez, I mean, they battle, they compete. They're tough kids and quality players. So I know it's going to be another tough N10 game for sure. Yeah, I mean, we most of our games have been on the road this year, but we did just come off, a couple home games, which we've got to capitalize when we're at home, Zach. And right now we're 0-3 at home. So we're looking forward to getting back home. But I tell you what, right now going on this trip might not be a bad thing. Getting the girls away for a couple days, and maybe a change of scenery. Hopefully we get a good result up there, and then we come back and play our next game at home. So the change might be a positive thing right now. As far as team building, absolutely. The girls were kind of excited today. They're wondering who their roommates are going to be and all that stuff up at the hotel for the overnight. We've got the study halls scheduled for them when we arrive tomorrow night, and then the following morning because we don't play until the afternoon. So they'll get a chance. It's a 5-hour bus trip. So they'll certainly study on the bus, but they'll have time to have fun with each other. And same thing at the hotel. So overall, yeah, I do think that they're excited about it. Team building is really a long-term process for us. It's not any one event, but I think in this case, the girls are excited to get away and a change of scenery. I think it probably comes at a good time for us.
Well, there you go. You got the away game on Wednesday. You mentioned the home game coming up on Saturday. That's against Merrimack. That's also the homecoming game. I know it's early on in the week. You're mostly focused on the Dolphins at this point. But what are your early returns on the Warriors?
It's funny that you say that, because usually I would say that we're just looking at the upcoming game, which is the case. We're really only concerned with Lemoyne at this point. However, we're far enough along in the season where when we're watching video of upcoming opponents, we've come across not watching Merrimack. We've been watching other teams, but because you're watching other teams, you see Merrimack, and I haven't seen them in person yet, so I can only tell what I've seen from the video. But they look like the best Merrimack team I've seen in recent years. They look athletic and tenacious for sure. So that's gonna be a tough battle.
Yeah, 4 conference wins for the Warriors thus far, and they have 2 of the top goal scorers in the conference.
Yeah.
So it'll be a test for Rydella and the defense.
Absolutely. Yep.
So the last question I have for you today, there's 6 games left in the regular season. You guys are currently 3-7 overall. You wouldn't make the N10s if the season were to end today. As a coach, from your perspective, are these all must-win games from here on out?
Well, the reality is that you've got to come in. It's a 15 institution conference, and you've got to come in the top 8 to advance to the conference tournament. So we feel that in order to get in the top 8, we're assuming that we're going to have to win 7 conference games. So we're at 3 right now. So out of the remaining 6 games, we are assuming that we're probably going to have to get 4 wins out of those last 6 games. Now, it's not an exact science, but if you look at previous years and how the numbers fall, we're assuming that we've got to get to 7 wins to make that. So 4 out of 6 games. So to answer your question, no one of them is must win, but time's ticking. Time's ticking. You need 4 more wins, you got 6 games. So
yeah, not a lot of room for error there.
Absolutely.
Well, you got your first chance on Wednesday against Lemoyne. That's an away game, and then against Merrimack on Saturday. That's the homecoming game. We're actually going to have Kick for Nick, the collection for soccer balls back for that, and also the Connecticut Food Bank. So if you're coming to that game on Saturday against Merrimack, you can bring your soccer balls and your canned goods, and you can donate to those 2 great charities that are offered on Saturday. Coach, it's been great.
Zach, thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you back here next week. We'll see everybody back here next week as well. Hopefully we'll be starting on time next week. I'm Zach Russo. Mike Kobolansky not able to come in today, but Mike will be back tomorrow for Adam Cohen's Coach's Corner at 2:15.